Welcome to Voyage Daily Tech, the most important news personalized for you every day, supported by Voyage.com.
After listening to today's news, you'll know, first, NASA's Guardian AI breakthrough detects tsunamis from space, igniting a global race for a planetary nervous system. So we'll discuss why this leap changes global disaster response and what it means for international security. Second, Ripple's $4 billion acquisition spree targets traditional finance, but its XRP token price remains paradoxically stagnant. We'll analyse why this buy versus build strategy is a turning point and how it could affect competitive dynamics in global finance. Third, SoftBank's $19 billion profit came from a high-stakes ultimatum that forced OpenAI to become a for-profit entity. Today, we'll take a closer look at this aggressive deal and its implications for the future governance of leading AI companies. Fourth, Aura's $2 billion sales forecast pits its subscription model against a no-fee challenge from tech giants like Samsung. We'll explore how Oura's finger data moat could transform the wearables market, even as it faces major regulatory risks. Fifth, a UK official's ethical deepfake campaign uses just 3 seconds of audio to expose a new wave of AI scams. In this episode, we'll break down this controversial tactic and what it signals for the global regulatory battle against deepfake technology. A technology once dismissed as crazy just tracked a massive tsunami in real time by reading ripples in the sky. Here's the bombshell. After an 8.8 magnitude earthquake struck off Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula, triggering waves moving at over 400 miles per hour, scientists watched it happen. Not by looking at the ocean, but by looking up. The moving ocean disturbed the air above it, creating ripples in the ionosphere, 190 miles above the Earth's surface. The reason this is such a breakthrough is how it works. The ionosphere is a layer of our atmosphere full of charged particles or ions that creates the aurora borealis. Because it's electrically charged, it interacts with radio signals from navigation satellites. When a massive event like a tsunami pushes the atmosphere up and down, it creates waves in this charged layer, and our global satellite network can read those waves like a book. And in a twist of unbelievable timing, just one day before the quake, NASA had activated a new AI system called Guardian, designed to spot exactly those atmospheric ripples. Now, I know what you're thinking, an AI system activated just one day before a major disaster? The key to trusting it lies in the protocol, what's called a human-in-the-loop model. The AI provides the alert, but a human expert always validates the data before any evacuation order is issued. This ensures we get the speed of the machine combined with the judgment of a person, which helps prevent false alarms when millions of lives are at stake. The result? Tsunami Watchers knew waves were heading for Hawaii a full 30 to 40 minutes before they arrived. A data scientist who helped build the system even admitted that when he first heard the idea years ago, he thought it sounded kind of crazy. What's fascinating is that this fits a classic pattern in science, turning what was once considered noise into a signal. For years, engineers had to correct for atmospheric disturbances. Now, they're using that exact disturbance to detect catastrophic events. It's a bit like how the fact that the coastlines of South America and Africa seem to fit together was dismissed as a coincidence until plate tectonics turned that coincidence into cornerstone evidence. It's a pattern of seeing what others have ignored. But that's not the whole picture. The real turning point is that this method isn't just for tsunamis. It can detect volcanic eruptions, rocket launches, and has even been used to confirm underground nuclear weapons tests. This is where the situation takes a more complex turn into geopolitics. The ability to detect a secret underground nuclear test from ripples in the sky is a game changer for national security. In fact, the US Naval Research Laboratory has already proven this works. It creates a new domain for treaty verification where nations can be monitored for clandestine activities from space. The big question now is who controls this global atmospheric data? It could fundamentally change international espionage. While traditional warning systems rely on ocean buoys, they don't give as immediate or comprehensive a picture. For a tsunami crossing an entire ocean, those extra minutes of warning can mean the difference between safety and disaster. And this isn't just a NASA project. It's kicking off a new global race to build a planetary nervous system. You have China developing similar capabilities with its Beidou satellite system and European projects using their Galileo network. It's a competition to see who can build the best and fastest early warning system for the entire planet, turning the sky into a shared but also contested resource. The next step for the Guardian system is to not just detect a tsunami, but to use the data to automatically forecast its size and exactly where it will strike. It's a revolutionary advance that turns the sky itself into a global life-saving alarm system. We were just talking about a planetary nervous system built on data. Now, let's shift to a company trying to build a new nervous system for global finance. A major crypto company just went on a nearly $4 billion acquisition spree, but its target isn't what you think. Ripple Labs is using its war chest to invade the world of traditional finance. This isn't a friendly merger. It's a strategic push to build a financial services powerhouse. In 2025 alone, Ripple spent nearly $1.3 billion to buy prime brokerage Hidden Road and over $1 billion for software firm G Treasury. This move is a classic buy versus build strategy. Ripple is choosing to times buy times its way into the big leagues. When we place Ripple's approach alongside a competitor like JP Morgan, the contradiction becomes clear. JP Morgan chose to build times its own blockchain division, Onyx, from the ground up. By acquiring Hidden Road, Ripple instantly gets a company that clears over $3 trillion a year and has more than 300 institutional clients. They didn't have to spend years building that trust. They just bought it. The goal, according to CEO Brad Garlinghouse, is to bring crypto-enabled solutions directly to the traditional financial world. If that was just the appetizer, the main course is just being served. The company also just launched Ripple Prime, a new brokerage for institutions, and raised $500 million in fresh funding, rocketing its market value to a staggering $40 billion. Interestingly enough, there's a great paradox here. While Ripple the Times, company Times, is now valued at $40 billion, the price of its associated crypto token, XRP, has been relatively stagnant. The success of the company isn't translating to the price of its token. Factors like a massive circulating supply of over 58 billion XRP tokens and its primary use as a bridge currency for big institutions rather than something retail investors are buying up create this disconnect. It challenges the entire idea that a network's utility automatically means its token price will go up. So what's fueling this aggressive expansion? Garlinghouse points to a massive regulatory shift, stating the United States used to lean out on crypto and now we're leaning in. And I think people underestimate how big a shift that is. This US-centric strategy is a massive gamble, especially when you look at the global landscape. While the US market is huge, its regulatory path is still incredibly volatile. The European Union, for example, has already implemented its MiCA regulations, a clear, unified legal framework. And Singapore has become a global crypto hub thanks to its Clear-Cut Payment Services Act. So while Ripple is betting big on the US, its competitors might be building on more stable foundations overseas. However, if you zoom out, you'll see another layer of strategy at play. Ripple isn't moving into an empty space. Wall Street is waking up. Banking titans like Bank of America and Citigroup are actively exploring stable coins. JP Morgan even plans to introduce its own deposit token. It's becoming an institutional land grab. So the thing is, while they call it bridging, their actions suggest something more like replacing. Ripple is building a full stack crypto native alternative that could one day cut out the traditional banks entirely. In fact, public records show Ripple has even applied for a US national bank charter, which would give it direct access to the Federal Reserve's payment systems. When Ripple pitches its XRP ledger to a bank, it's a very specific trade-off. The XRP ledger is built for speed and low cost. It can finalize a transaction in 3 to 5 seconds for a fraction of a cent. For a bank that just wants to move money across borders cheaply and instantly, that's an amazing offer. The trade-off is that it's less flexible than something like Ethereum. So the bank has to choose the high-speed, low-cost payment rail from Ripple or the more versatile Swiss Army knife approach of other blockchains. That is the battle being fought right now for the future of finance. Speaking of staggering valuations, Ripple's $40 billion market cap is impressive, but another tech giant just posted a gain that dwarfs almost everything else. The most unexpected news in the financial world today has to be this. Japanese giant SoftBank just reported a $19 billion gain on its investment fund in a single quarter, all from one high-stakes bet. The source of the windfall? A $14.3 billion return from its investment in ChatGPT maker OpenAI, which just skyrocketed to a jaw-dropping $500 billion valuation. SoftBank's overall profit more than doubled to 2.5 trillion yen, absolutely crushing expectations. Now, get this, justifying a $500 billion valuation is a story in itself. The thinking goes that if ChatGPT can attract 2 billion users and monetize each at just $5 a month, it could generate $120 billion in annual revenue. But it sits inside a two-tier AI economy. Hardware players like NVIDIA print cash, while model makers like OpenAI burn money at astonishing rates. The problem is OpenAI isn't profitable yet, and the costs for massive computing power are astronomical. This highlights the huge gap between current reality and future potential, a gap some analysts compare to the dot-com bubble. This victory was snatched from the jaws of market panic. Just last week, fears of an AI bubble wiped nearly $50 billion off SoftBank's own market value. And remember, the White House drew a hard line against any federal backstop for AI, meaning the financing burden rests squarely on private capital. Enter SoftBank. What really brought this to a head, however, was happening behind the scenes. SoftBank's massive $30 billion investment came with a hardcore ultimatum for OpenAI: restructure from a non-profit into a for-profit entity by a strict deadline, or lose $10 billion of the funding. Under that immense pressure, OpenAI changed its corporate structure. This deal created a fundamental built-in conflict. OpenAI didn't just become a standard company, it became a public benefit corporation, a hybrid model controlled by its original non-profit board. You see the inherent tension, right? You have the non-profit board whose mission is to ensure AI benefits all of humanity. And then you have the for-profit side, which has a duty to make money for investors like SoftBank. How the company resolves future conflicts between its mission and its profit motive is one of the biggest unanswered questions in all of tech. This wasn't just a bet for SoftBank, it was a move that forced a fundamental change at one of tech's most pivotal companies. And now they're doubling down, preparing to inject an additional $22.5 billion into OpenAI next month. Rivals like Google and Amazon are pushing their own silicon to reduce costs, and SoftBank's cash is fuel for OpenAI to compete at that same massive scale. For SoftBank, after all, this isn't just about quick profits. This is a bet on the future of intelligence itself. Their stated goal is to become the leader in artificial superintelligence, or ASI-AI, that is 10,000 times smarter than a human. It's a visionary, almost science fiction level goal that sets them apart from the more product-focused strategies of Google or Meta. It's a high-risk play for the next technological paradigm, and it places one of America's most critical AI companies in a deep partnership with a foreign giant. SoftBank is betting billions on the future of artificial superintelligence, but the real value of AI often comes from a more personal application. That brings us to our next story about a company using AI to build a guardian angel you can wear on your finger. Let's start with a single statistic that might just change your entire perspective on this company. The CEO of smart ring maker Oura said he expects to generate close to $2 billion in sales in 2026. To put that in perspective, Oura is on track to hit $1 billion in 2025, which is already double its 2024 revenue. So they're aiming to nearly double their sales for a second consecutive year. Actually, this isn't just about selling a piece of hardware. Oura's success is built on the subscription economy. After you buy the ring, you pay a $5.99 monthly fee to unlock the deep insights. This recurring revenue is the engine driving that $2 billion forecast, boasting an 88% annual retention rate that's far above the industry average. This explosive growth follows a recent $900 million funding round that valued the Finnish company at a staggering $11 billion. Oura's success, however, has put a massive target on its back. Samsung has already launched its Galaxy Ring, and rumors are buzzing that Apple is close behind. This decision to stick with a subscription brings both benefits, like predictable revenue, and comes with inherent risks, like facing no-fee challenges from giants. Oura is betting its specialized health focus is a moat, but the pressure is on. According to CEO Tom Hale, it's all fueled by a strategic pivot into highly specific health features, with massive growth coming from advanced health tracking for women. Believe it or not, this reflects a deliberate choice between two very different business strategies. Oura is running a platform strategy, moving incredibly fast by partnering with experts. This is the opposite of a company like Apple, which prefers vertical integration, developing everything in-house. Apple's approach gives them total control, but it's slower. Oura's partnerships let them add new, complex features much more quickly. and they have been quietly building a powerful health ecosystem. They partnered with Natural Cycles, an FDA-cleared birth control app for fertility features. They introduced glucose monitoring via a partnership with Dexcom, and now they've announced research into blood pressure. The secret to Oura's advanced features lies in what we could call its finger data moat. Your finger is a much better place to collect health data than your wrist. The arteries provide a stronger, cleaner signal for heart rate and variability, and more importantly, the finger allows for more accurate continuous temperature tracking. This superior data gives Oura's AI a huge advantage. This all points to an endgame that goes far beyond fitness tracking, to become, in the CEO's words, a guardian angel that gives predictions about your longer-term health. He even calls their AI-powered chatbot a doctor in your pocket. That specific phrase, doctor in your pocket, is actually walking a very dangerous legal and regulatory line. Here's where it gets interesting. If a device is intended to diagnose, treat, or prevent a disease, the FDA classifies it as a medical device, requiring years of rigorous approval. To avoid this, Oura must be incredibly careful to frame its AI as a general wellness tool, not a diagnostic one. If their AI gives faulty advice, the question of liability is a massive, unresolved legal grey area. By embedding itself into critical areas like fertility and metabolic health, Oura is making a high-stakes play to become a central hub for personal health, and its meteoric sales forecast shows the strategy is paying off. Oura is walking a fine line with regulation, but that's nothing compared to the outright criminal use of AI. In the UK, one official is fighting AI-powered scams with a controversial tactic of her own. Get this, a video just dropped showing a police and crime commissioner promoting a shady financial scheme, telling people how to secure money in their bank accounts. But the commissioner in that video isn't real. Now, you might wonder why criminals are targeting mid-level public officials like this. It's because they have public trust and authority, but often lack the massive security teams that protect high-profile CEOs. Research shows that impersonation scams are skyrocketing, with Americans losing over $1 billion in 2023. Scammers posing as government officials are a huge part of that, making figures like a regional commissioner a perfect vulnerable target. Surrey's Police and Crime Commissioner, Lisa Townsend, created a deep fake of herself as part of a radical new campaign to show just how easy it is for criminals to convincingly impersonate public figures. This tactic, being called an ethical deepfake, is sparking a serious debate. While it grabs your attention, some experts worry that by creating more deepfakes, even for a good cause, we might be normalizing the technology and making it even harder for people to trust what they see online. It's a fine line to walk. The fake video shows her explaining how to register for the scheme before the real Lisa Townsend cuts in to reveal the entire thing was created using artificial intelligence. The technology is advancing at a terrifying speed. According to the commissioner, the results are frightening, and it takes only 3 seconds of audio to clone a person's voice. We're seeing these incredibly accessible, low-cost AI tools for creation, while, at the same time, researchers are scrambling to build software that can detect them. The reality is, the creation tools are evolving faster than the detection tools. It's a constant battle, and right now, the creators have the edge. Just 3 seconds. That's all a criminal needs to manipulate a voice and make it say whatever they want. With Black Friday and Christmas shopping seasons right around the corner, the warning is to pause and question everything. This question everything approach, however, puts the entire burden of verification on you, the individual. That raises a huge question, doesn't it? Who should ultimately be responsible for spotting these fakes and covering the losses? The individual, the social media platforms, or the banks? It's a debate that lawmakers are grappling with right now. The campaign is called Question Everything, and it exposes a chilling new reality. As Commissioner Townsend herself put it, AI has made the scammers' space into a fraudster's paradise. And this fraudster's paradise is being tackled differently all over the world. This UK campaign is a ground-level awareness effort that complements their National Online Safety Act. In contrast, the European Union is rolling out its AI Act, which will require AI-generated content to be labelled. China has similar rules forcing deep synthesis content to be watermarked. Meanwhile, the United States' lack of a single federal law creates a patchwork of state rules, showing just how complex it is to regulate this technology globally.
That's it for today on Voyage Daily Tech. Follow, share, and stay tuned for daily updates coming your way tomorrow.